I'm your family personal chef, Mike Moses. Coming up today, we're going to make a soup that I made way back in 2003 on my first ever video. It was on VHS tape, and it was tomato soup. Well, since then I've modernized the recipe a little bit, and now this is a great soup that's good cold or hot. It's my tomato basil soup, and I've got a little secret that makes it taste even better coming up. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you would like more, please subscribe. In fact, if you would like to see something, leave me a comment. Back in 2003, I got my old VHS recorder, set it up, and I made a video on how to do a tomato and basil soup. It was a very long video, a lot of learning. I had a lot of hair back then too. Maybe I didn't. I just thought I did. Here's what we'll need. We'll need 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 1 small onion diced, 1 cup of orange juice, 5 sliced de-seeded tomatoes, 5 leaves of fresh basil, 1½ cups of reduced sodium chicken broth, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1¼ teaspoons of freshly ground pepper, and 1/3 cup of heavy cream. In order to get the skin off the tomato without actually cooking the flesh, it's a very quick process. First thing we have to do, remove the green stem. Now we make an X on the bottom. We make an X on the top. We're going to dump this in boiling water, and then after about 10 or 15 seconds, as soon as you see the skin start to peel off, we'll dump it into an ice bath to stop the cooking process. So in the boiling water we go. We'll mix it around a little, just make sure everything gets nice and hot. You really should only do one at a time, or you're going to end up cooking your tomatoes. Okay, it's been about 15 seconds. And I can see some splitting happening. We'll dump that into the ice bath. And we'll bring her over. As you can see, I'll move my knife so we can see a little better. Skin peels right off. If you've overdone it, the easiest way to tell is that you get some of the flesh too. This one's done perfectly. 10 seconds, 15 seconds in the water. Which you hear boiling away in the background because I've got 5 more of these to do. And there is my peeled tomato. We'll de-seed these in a moment. I'll get the other 5 done. Okay, to de-seed a tomato, take the tomato, turn it on its side, cut it right in half. And you see, we're left with all the seeds in around the core. Take your tomato, gently squeeze, and then using the end of a spoon to scoop out all the seeds. Do this in a bowl. In fact, if you want, you can even scoop out the white core piece. There we have a de-seeded tomato. Okay, time to get our basil ready. Take all your leaves, with the biggest leaf on top, and roll it up into a tight little ball. And then you're going to start chopping. You should have a very sharp knife for this, because you don't want to bruise the basil to cut it up. It's called a chiffonade. So now our basil has been chiffonaded, and you can tell if you did a good job or not by looking on your cutting board. And if you don't see any green, then your knife's very sharp. Do my cloves of garlic. Peel off the skin. And then dice them up. Garlic's diced. We're going to cut these down in half and just dice up. Dice right. Again, because we're using the blender, you don't have to make everything tiny. All right, I'm just going to get my mise en place ready. Why, you ask, do I always have everything ready? Well, It makes organization in the kitchen a lot better. We're going to put the pot on medium-high. We're going to add our extra virgin olive oil. Now we're going to let the pot come up to temperature. Our pot's coming up to temperature. We shall add our onions, season our onions with a kosher salt and fresh ground pepper. Give that a good stir. Making this tomato soup, especially if you're going to eat it cold, it's all about layers and textures. Now that our onions have some caramelization on them, we want to add our garlic. So I'll stir that around for a couple of minutes. And now we add the tomatoes. Break them up. Once you've got your tomatoes in the pot, you're going to have to season. You're going to have to season well. You're probably going to use a good 2 pinches of salt, kosher salt. Then we're going to add some pepper. I'm going to let that stew. I'm using beefeater tomatoes, but you can use plum tomatoes, you can use heirloom tomatoes, you can use any type of tomato you want. I find that the beefeaters are good because they have a lot of moisture in them. As you can see, we're starting to get some juices. The tomatoes are starting to break down, which is really good. If you're wondering why we took the skins off the tomatoes and de-seeded them, the seeds are bitter and the skin doesn't break down, so you just end up with little rolls. Okay, now I'm going to add about 100 milliliters of orange juice. And my 1.5 cups of chicken stock. Again, because I've added an ingredient, low sodium or whatever, we're going to season, but lightly again. This will be simmering on the stove for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, about 15 minutes have passed and things are coming along very nicely. The tomatoes have broken down. It's time to add our basil. I'm going to mix that in. And we're going to reduce the heat down to 0, turn it off, let the residual heat work, and add our cream. Now you're probably wondering, boy, 1/3 cup of cream is a lot of cream, but really it isn't when you consider this is almost 2 liters of soup. So we'll just add our cream. We'll get my immersion blender out. I put in my soup and I blend away. And there is our silky smooth tomato basil soup. We're gonna let this chill down, but first, before we do anything, we have to taste. Make sure your seasoning is correct. Look at that. Oh. Need some salt and a little bit of pepper. One more taste, new spoon. My soup is done. It's going in the refrigerator now, and in 4 hours, we will have a gorgeous summertime soup. When you're ready to serve, spoon into mugs or bowls and garnish with some fresh basil. Cold tomato and basil soup, great for any time during your summer. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of these, please subscribe. In fact, if there's something you would like to see in particular, please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. I look forward to helping you eat healthier, shop smarter, and cook better.